guys, welcome back to my channel, and before I jump into this video, I first want to make a big apology for having such a big break. Now, it has been probably around about 10 months since I last filmed something besides I think a Halloween haul, but that's just simply because we sold our last house, and on the day that we sold our house we actually moved and bought a new house. And now that was just a big whirlwind of getting things legalized, changing names over, deeds over, and everything like that. And just, I think as anyone who has moved into a new house, unpacking, trying to find a new routine is just, it's just time consuming. Like, it really is time consuming. Now, I have filmed some videos. I'm not too sure if I'm going to have time to edit them and upload them, but I'd like to, as of now, film some new videos, because as you are aware now that we are going through our big life changes within our family. So as this title suggests, I am currently pregnant with baby number 2. I'm currently 24 weeks pregnant, so I'm in the back end of my second trimester, and I'm nearly into my third trimester, which I think it starts at 27 weeks. Now, I think I made a video a little while ago saying that Lily was potentially going to be an only child. Now, that was a very true and very raw moment within our lives, and it was very truthful at that time. So now, to come to that conclusion, at the time we were speaking from the heart. I had a lot of infertility issues, I had a lot of miscarriages to conceive Lilia, and we were very grateful that she came out healthy, but I did have a somewhat of a traumatic birth with her. So to push all that aside and try for baby number 2 was just completely nuts. And it was actually Lilia that was the one that instigated the whole having baby number 2, because for her 3rd birthday all she wanted was to become a big sister. And granted, she probably doesn't know what being a big sister full-time is, but she does know what being a sister is, because we've had all her cousins have siblings and everything like that, and her cousins from Melbourne actually came up and they stayed with us for about 2.5 weeks, and it was during that time we actually saw how happy she was and how content within her life. And she kept saying to us, this is what I want to become, I want to be a sister and things like that. And when they left, her persistence of asking to become a big sister just became into overdrive. So that caused me and John to sit down and reevaluate what we actually wanted for our family, and we decided within that time frame we would giving baby number 2 a try for 6 months, because obviously my mental health was going to be playing a big game with and obviously my body just doesn't like being pregnant. Like, it really doesn't. And I think I'll make a separate video altogether on that, because I unfortunately already had another miscarriage before this baby decided to stick around, and it does play a really big mental game on your mental health, and I don't know if it's actually spoken about it enough. So I think I'll make a separate video about that. But as this pregnancy goes on, I'm very excited to announce that we are having baby number 2 now. This pregnancy and Lilia's pregnancy has been completely different. Now, I knew very early on in the stages I was pregnant with Lilia, because I was charting my ovulation cycles. I was testing pregnancy tests as soon as I could test for pregnancy tests, even before months before I conceived her and everything like that. And as soon as I got the fetus live with her, I knew I was pregnant, and I was so excited and everything like that. With this baby, because I did have the miscarriage 6 weeks into our first the first time we got pregnant, I wasn't too keen to start doing the whole pregnancy test things and everything like that. But I do remember the very first day I knew that I was pregnant with this baby was that I was taking Lilia to her swimming class, and her swimming class is actually in a big building that's enclosed. And I remember going in, pressing the button, this door opens, and the whole scent of chlorine just hit me hard, and it hit me fast, and I remember just like throwing up everywhere, and I felt so extremely dizzy. And then from that moment on, I was like, I'm going to go buy a pregnancy test, because I'm pretty sure I'm pregnant. And then I remember going home that afternoon, taking the pregnancy test, and the faintest of faint lines came up, and I was like, could that be the leftover HSC levels from my miscarriage? Because obviously I just had a miscarriage, could that just be it? But then as the days went on, the line got darker. My breasts got so extremely sore, which I never had with Lilia. And I started having morning sickness, which I never had with Lily either. Now, I never threw up, but I just got very close. I had like a very bad gagging episodes and dry reaching. And it got to the stage that I used to get home, and after I cooked dinner, because dinner was the worst part of the whole morning afternoon sickness, that I just had to go to sleep. Like, I was like, I need to go to sleep because I feel so ill, I feel so hungover and so just nauseous. I need to go to sleep. So my pregnancy this time around has been completely different, because with Lilia, all I got was motion sickness with her if I'd went for a very long drive. Other than that, you really didn't know that I was pregnant. This time around, I've definitely known I was pregnant from the whole, from the get-go. And it made me think that I was having a baby boy. And I was like, if this isn't a baby boy, I'm going to be so surprised, because my pregnancy this time around has been so completely different. So I went for, obviously, I went for a couple of scans for medically speaking. So I went through a scan at about 4 or 5 weeks because I was bleeding so heavily, and I actually thought it might have been ectopic. It came back that he was just a little blimp. And then I went for a follow-up appointment at 8 weeks, and they gave me a gestational due date, which is the 2nd of July. And then I started bleeding all over again at around 9 weeks. So I went for another ultrasound, came back, he was fine. And then I went for my 12-week scan, and I remember asking the ultrasound technician, I was like, oh, do you want to have a guess of what, I'm having, what's the sex is? And he was like, I think it might be a boy, like I'm 70% like sure it's going to be a boy. And I'm like, okay then, like he's like, oh, you seem excited. And I'm like, no, it's just what I've been thinking that I'm having. Like, I just have a feeling I'm having a boy this time around. And he was like, okay, well, just don't get your hopes up too much, because this is just a guess at this stage. And I'm like, that's fine, like I still think I'm having a boy. And then unfortunately I did bleed again at around 15 weeks. I had to go to hospital because I was bleeding quite badly at that stage. They did another test, an ultrasound there. He came back, he was all good. And then because obviously from my very first miscarriage we wanted to go back and have another scan done before we started to announce to people that I was pregnant, just to make sure that he was still viable and still alive. Because I remember like the first time, it was just a terrible situation. At that stage we had to go for a private scan, not a medical scan, and it was a gender reveal scan. And I was like, oh yeah, so is it a boy, is it a girl? At that stage he had his legs firmly closed, would not show anybody, so we had to go back a second time to the private place to get the scan, and they said, look, it's definitely a boy, we think it's a boy, you're good, like it's a boy. And I'm like, okay, then that's all my intuition is right. And then we had I told my family and everything like that, and then we went back for our 20-week scan, and it was confirmed officially that he is a boy. So we are definitely having a baby boy, and all my instincts were right this time around. But the really one really funny thing is that I've had so many ultrasounds and so many scans, and this little boy is either very, very placid, very relaxed, or he is very lazy. I'm not too sure which one of those three he is, because these scans are only meant to take about 30 minutes, and each time I've gone in there, I have been in there for over an hour to 2 hours at a time, because he just does not want to move. He might just move his arm out and things like that, but other than that, he just doesn't want to move. He gets in a position that is in the wrong position for them needing to get their measurements or their medical check and things like that. He just doesn't want to move. And so I'm hoping that that's going to transfer out into the real life, and he's going to be just a very placid baby, because to be honest, I'm a little bit nervous about having a baby boy. Like, obviously having Lilia, I am a girl myself, so I understand girls' emotions, I understand the physical well-being of being a girl and things like that. With a boy, I'm basically out in the middle of nowhere. I have no idea how to deal with boy parts and rough and tumble and things like that. I'm just I'm into painting nails and going shopping and playing Disney princesses and things like that. So having a baby boy this time around is going to be completely different, but I'm going to be super excited about having a baby boy though. So that is pretty much our update for the moment. I'll show you a quick video, a quick little, you know, picture of what baby boy looks like, and I think he looks very similar to how Lilia actually looked. I don't know if that's gonna focus. There it goes. So I actually think, yeah, like I said, I think he looks very similar to how Lilia looked at this time and place. For my birth this time around, because like I said before, I did have a very traumatic birth with Lilia. So this time around, I do want to try something completely different, which I will make another video on about my birth plan and things like that. But other than that, I'll show you my belly for 24 weeks, and I will talk to you guys next time.